To schedule a meeting in Canvas, start by going to your course and accessing Zoom from the course navigation. In the upper right corner, click on Schedule a New Meeting. The first text box is to set the name for your meeting. Generally, what I would recommend you do here is keep the name of your course, and then after that, type Live Class Session. The next text box is for a description of your meeting, which you can pretty much just ignore. After that, you can set the date and time of your class session. So for this example, I will say that my class session's on Friday at 1 p.m. The next option is to set the duration. Bear in mind that this will not cut off your meeting if you go over this time. This is just an indicator to participants of how long they should expect the meeting to be. In this case, I will say it's a 1 hour and 15-minute session. Next is the time zone, which you can leave alone. And after that is the option to make this a recurring meeting. If you check this box, you will see different options available to have this session repeat over a period of time. So let's say, for the sake of example, that I'm going to have this session repeat every week on Fridays and Mondays, and I'm going to have it repeat until, we'll say, December 18th. Next, you can pretty much skip the registration option. This is not something that we generally expect people will need to use much. After that is the security options. Our recommendation is to always leave passcode turned on. This will increase security, and the passcode is not something that students will need to know. It's just something that blocks random people on the internet from accessing your meetings. The waiting room option, if enabled, will make it so when you start the meeting, you will have to manually admit people to access the meeting space. So for a class session, we would generally recommend that you turn this option off. Next, you will see options for the default video behavior. Generally, you can leave both of these turned on, but bear in mind that everyone will have the option to turn off their webcam if they so choose. Next is the audio options, and we generally recommend that you leave this as both so that students can connect via phone if they need to. The last few options to modify for your meeting, first is enable join before host. This makes it so that students can connect to the meeting space before you arrive. If you want to give them this option, you can enable this. If, however, you would prefer that you are the first one there and then students can join, you can turn that off. Next is the option to mute participants upon entry. This is useful if a student arrives late and their microphone's turned on. That could interrupt you. So if you check this box, by default, when people connect to the meeting, their microphones will be muted, and of course, they can unmute themselves if they so choose. The next option for only authenticated users can join, we recommend that you do not turn this on. And that's because if you do turn it on, students will be forced to sign in to their CVTC Zoom account, which just adds an extra barrier that's not necessary. So generally, just leave this turned off. And then the last option is to automatically record your meetings. For the most part, I would say leave this off. You always have the option to record when you're in the meeting, if you so choose. So there really is not a reason that you should automatically record these unless you have a very specific use case. Lastly, you will see an option here for alternative hosts. You can type in someone's CVTC email address if they're a member of this course, and they will have host privileges as well. This would be useful if you're going to do things like student groups that you create in Zoom. You could assign group leaders, perhaps, as alternative hosts. This is also useful if you have other instructors who also take part in the course. You could set them as alternative hosts. Once you are done with these settings, you can click on Save. And that will show you a summary of the information for your meeting. And if you click on the Zoom link again in your course navigation, that will bring you back to the upcoming meetings list, and you will see your newly scheduled meetings in the list presented here. And if you want to start a meeting, you'll just simply click on Start, and students will simply click on Join. One other important thing I forgot to mention is that when you schedule a meeting for a specific date and time, in Canvas, those meetings will show up on the student's calendar and on the student's to-do list. So, as an example, I'll go over to my calendar right now for this session that I've scheduled on Fridays and Mondays. And you will see that I have those sessions listed right here. And if I click on one of the sessions, it will actually give me the Zoom link that I can join right here. Alternatively, I could also click the Join button from the Zoom interface in the course as well. Either way will take me to the same place. Likewise, if I go over to my dashboard right now, and I'll go into my to-do list, you can see coming up is my live class session here on my to-do list. So this will show up for both students and teachers, which means that actually scheduling your Zoom sessions for specific times is very beneficial. You may have the desire to just make a single Zoom meeting and reuse that throughout the whole semester, but if you do that, it will not populate the to-do list, it will not populate the calendar. So we recommend that you actually schedule those out. And again, using the recurring meetings functionality of Zoom makes that pretty simple to accomplish.